Parshas Noach, Tavshin Vav, and Baruch Hashem, due to a family simcha, so we're recording the Shiur at a remote location this week. And I want to first of all thank everybody who was so nice and so gracious to come to my son Aaron's chasana this week. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to us, to all of you that came. And we should all be zoichet to share in each other's simchas, gesundheit hay. So the theme of Parshas Noach, we all know, is the theme of the Mabul. And the Mabul is something that we learn about when we are young children. And really the story of the Mabul that we learn about when we're young children is a story that remains in our minds and remains in our heads for our entire lives. But the idea is, and the real goal should be, is to go a little bit deeper and to try to get a better understanding than we did have when we were in first grade of what really took place and what happened during the generation of the Mabul and what happened during the time of the Mabul. And there's a pasuk during the saying of why the Mabul actually happened. There is a pasuk at the beginning of Parshas Noach, and the pasuk says as follows: "Vatishaches haaretz lifnei ha'elekim," that the land became corrupt. "Vatimolei haaretz chamas." Vayar Elekim, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw, v'hinei nishchasa, ki hishchis kol basar es darkoi ala aretz, that people essentially had become tremendously corrupt. And what the word chamas actually means, we will go into very shortly. And then the psukim continue. Vayomer Elekim leNoach, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Noach, Kates kol basar bo lefanai. That's it. We're at the end. This cannot go on any longer, and this is the end. Kimal haaretz chamas, and once again we're going to explain what that means. Mipneihem v'hineni mashchisamas haaretz. That's it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said that it reached the saturation point. It reached a point where we cannot do this anymore, and we need to destroy the world. So we see from these psukim that because of the gravity and the seriousness of the sins of the Dor HaMabul, because of what they did, they received an unprecedented punishment. A punishment which obviously never was, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised afterwards that this would never happen again. Where the punishment consisted of the entire creation being wiped out. And from these psukim that I just read to you, it seems that really there were two inyanim. There was hashchasa, there was corruptness, and then there was chamas, which our chachamim tell us was gezel, that they were stealing from each other. So actually, from the psukim, it would seem that there is a stira, there's a paradox over here. Was it what? Because when Hashem said that that's it, I can't handle any more of this, I can't do this anymore, the world needs to be destroyed, what was HaKadosh Baruch Hu referring to? Was it the corruption in the world? What sealed the fate of the Dor HaMabul? Was it the corruption? Or was it the gezel? Was it hashchasa? Or was it chamas? What was it? And to ask the question a little deeper, was it as the pasuk says, Lifnei Elokim? Right? Vatishaches haaretz lifnei Elokim would tell us that we're discussing an inyan of bein adam lamakayim. Was it an aver of bein adam lamakayim that pushed it over the top, so to speak? Or was it chamas? Was it the inyan of gezel? Was it bein adam lachaveroi? What was it that pushed it over the top? What? Because when we discuss gezel, the Gemara in the Masechta Sanhedrin, Daf Kuf Ches Amud Aleph, tells us that loy nechtam gzar dinam ela ala gezel. That gezel is what did it, and that's what the Gemara says over there. So actually, this Maimer Chazal that tells us it's gezel, which actually was the makeh bepatish, which was the thing that did it, this Maimer Chazal too needs explanation. Because the Medrash tells us, the Medrash actually tells us, says in Nesivos Shalom, that chamas refers to the three averos of the three averos of Gilei Arayos, Avodah Zarah, and Shrichas Damim. That's what chamas refers to. and the Dora Mabel was over, and they did all three of those. So if you think about it for a second, the Gemara tells us that Gezel is what pushed it over the top, that what really did them in. And here the Medrash is telling us that they were over on the three cardinal sins. So if they did that, Gezel, not to minimize Gezel in any way, but Gezel I would think would be the least of their problems right now. So what does it mean that Gezel is what did it? Why did Gezel seal their fate? So Nesivos Shalom answers a very, very interesting point about Gezel. He says, you know what? Gezel, stealing, one person stealing from another person, actually has its roots in, and it stems from hashchasa. It stems from corruptness. Because seichel, a person's own intellect, and a person being civil, seichel and civility tell us that a person should not steal. Now, even without the Torah, really, there are certain things. If you have your things, and the other person has their things, then of course, seichel, your intellect tells you that you don't take away something from someone else. It's not yours. However, says the Nesivos Shalom, when a person becomes corrupt, you know what happens when you become corrupt? You lose your mind, and you lose your entire moral compass. And it can get so bad that you actually begin to think, not just that you've lost your way, that it's mutter. That things which are so obviously, blatantly usur, and blatantly things that one person doesn't do with another or to another, those things you actually begin to think that they're mutter. Like we see by the cities of Sodom and Amorah, which we're going to read about very shortly in the Torah. By Sodom and Amorah, it became a way of life. At first, we would think they were corrupt. But after a while, they didn't think they were corrupt. It began with hashchasa. But as life goes on, they thought it's mutter. It becomes a way of life. You begin to think that things which are corrupt are normal. And we could all really, in some way, identify with those kind of things, right? So this is how, says in Nesivos Shalom, we could explain what happened by the Dor HaMabel. The real problem, we had a question, was it Ashchasa, was it Chamas, was it Gezel? The real problem, says in Nesivos Shalom, was being corrupt. What's Hashchasa? They were blatantly corrupt. But the Hashchasa got so bad that even things like Gezel, which should be so obviously wrong to do, they were now becoming normal. So really, actually, it was a Bein Adam Lamokim problem. We had the question, which one was it? Bein Adam Lamokim and L'Chaverei? No, the problem stemmed from problems of Bein Adam Lamokim. But it got so bad that they didn't feel any issue with being corrupt in Bein Adam L'Chaverei anymore. Because it starts from there. But if you start over there and you become corrupt, then everything goes. And now Gezel seemed that it was normal and it was mutter too. So the Gzar Din was only Nechtam. We had a question on the Gemara. The Gemara said that it was Gezel that pushed it over the top. What about the three cardinal sins? And they were being over everything else. They were being over all those things. No. The Gzar Din, yes, they started with all of those. The corruptness began with that. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not seal their fate until the Hashchasa got so low, it got to the point where Gezel was mutter too, according to them. They didn't even think that was wrong. Nesivos Shalom tells us something which is very, very interesting. And he says that the Rashi Tevois of the words Ki Mal'a Ha'aretz Chamas are the letters Ches, Chaf, Mem, Hey. And those are it spells out the word Chachma. You have to mix them around a little bit, but Ki Mal'a Ha'aretz Chamas is Chachma. And this is a keen insight into human intellect and the way human behavior. He says like this, people stealing, right? Normally we look at stealing as something very, very negative, very, very bad. But you know how they began to look at people stealing? They began to look at people stealing, instead, they looked at it as somebody who's smart. Chachma, he's a smart guy. They're beating the system. And that is corruptness. A person knows how to beat the system. That is, Nesivos Shalom says, that is corrupt. Kimala, haaretz chamas, You think it's chachma. You think you're smart. The average person that's involved in these kind of things, they also think, oh, he's really smarter than everybody else. He defeated and beat the system. And therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Kates kol basar bala fanai. That's it. That once it reaches this point where people think that things are not usher anymore, and it's even correct, that's the end. We can't do that anymore. Nesivos Shalom adds on the inyan of Loinechtam Gzardinam El Ala Gezel. We said that they were over so many things, but until they stole, HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't say that was the end. Nesivos Shalom tells us something very, very important, and a lesson that is a lesson really to everybody. He says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even though he was sealing their fate, HaKadosh Baruch Hu still always goes with a midah keneged midah. That even with all the hashchasa, and even with all the ways that things that they were doing wrong, had they conducted themselves with chesed and rachamim, had they be good to each other, bein adam lachaveroi, HaKadosh Baruch Hu would still have had rachmanas on them. As we know, kol hamarachem al habriyos, one who has mercy, one who takes pity on other human beings, on habriyos, on HaKadosh Baruch Hu's creations, merachmin olav min hashamayim, and that's a fact. If you have pity, if you have mercy on HaKadosh Baruch Hu creations, He has mercy on you, no matter what. So the Medrash tells us that Avraham Avinu met a child of Noach. Avraham Avinu met Shem. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu asked Shem, how were you saved from the Mabul? And you know what Shem answered? Shem answered, through the chesed of feeding the animals in the Teva. And we all know, the Torah tells us, even though Noach ish tzaddik, Noach was a tzaddik, still we had the question, how were they saved? Noach was a tzaddik? No. That alone may have not saved Noach. But you know what? The answer is chesed. And the lesson to us, says the Nesivos Shalom, is that no matter what matzav you're in, no matter where you are able to extricate yourself from that matzav, and you have a way out, no matter where you are. You have a way out, and you know what that way out is? That way out is chesed. Because we see that until the people were over on the bein adam lachaveroi, until they stole from each other, until one person did not care about the other, their fate was not sealed. HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not seal their fate. And it's a lesson, it's something for all of us to think about. The power of chesed. And just the chesed that Noach did, they were feeding the animals in the teva, but each of us has our own things that we know we could do, and how we can help other people, and how we could be dan other people l'chaf schus, how we could create harmony and shalom and things among people, especially now with the insane situation that's going on in Eretz Yisrael. Every person knows how we could promote shalom in the world. You want HaKadosh Baruch Hu to be merachem on our brothers and sisters in Eretz Yisrael. You want HaKadosh Baruch Hu to be merachem on us. We have to be merachem on those around us. We have to take that extra special step. And that is a lesson that we learn from Parshas Noach. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you. I'm recording this on my own, so I'm going to have to take care of the technical part of this on my own too.